So, after consulting my fans on Facebook, I have decided to do another top whatever number video, this time counting down my top 10 favorite Pokemon. For one, don't worry guys, I haven't forgotten about the 06 review, still totally working on that. This is just a filler to fill the void while I'm working on the next part. See, these parts aren't going to come together in a day, you know? So, you might get, a few different videos here and there in between bits, but I'm totally continuing it. You don't have to worry about that. But I asked the people if they wanted to see this, if they wanted to hear my thoughts on, in terms of what my favorite Pokemon are. So I thought, hell, why not? And everyone seemed pretty positive about it, so I figured I'd do it right now. Yeah, might as well. Not doing anything else. Trying to keep from having to play 06 some more. So, yeah, anyway. So, brief disclaimer before I begin. I just want to clarify, this isn't a top best Pokemon. This isn't a top most powerful Pokemon. This isn't a top best Pokemon to use in a tournament meta, whatever. This is my personal favorites. I like these particular Pokemon for a variety of reasons. Not all of them I like because they're powerful. In fact, I can almost guarantee at least 3 of them I like for other reasons. So, there you go. Before I really get into it, I just want to cover some honorable mentions. These are Pokemon that didn't quite make the cut for one reason or another, but I still wanted to mention them. The first 2 I want to talk about are Espeon and Glaceon. Why aren't these 2 on the list? Well, simply put, if I put these 2 on the list, I'd have a total of 4 Evolutions on my top 10 list. I think that's a little bit much. I already have 2, which are in the top, very top of my list, so, I decided to leave these 2 off, just because so many Evolutions. Not necessary. The second 2 are Dragonite and Nidoqueen. Now, why am I talking about these 2 at the same time? Well, these 2 are actually key members of my Pokemon party, though the party I use in the games. The reason I leave these 2 off is that I don't like these 2 as much as other Pokemon, but I like them a lot, and I use them, from a mechanics perspective, and they're useful in my party. They both fill a different role, a very specific role, and I like having them. I just wouldn't put them in my top 10 in terms of favorites, The third one I want to talk about, well, I guess 5th, whatever, is Mewtwo. Why Mewtwo? Well, I didn't want to put him on the list because, it's really cliche to like Mewtwo, especially if you're a Generation 1 Pokemon fan like me. Let's be honest, everyone loves Mewtwo. Mewtwo is fucking badass, and that doesn't need to be said, but I didn't want to put him in my top 10 because everyone puts Mewtwo in their top fucking 10. Well, almost everyone. I guess Jay Woods didn't do that. But my point is that, no, I didn't want to put him in my top 10, but, there you go. And the last one is Magikarp. The hell is Magikarp doing even in the honorable mentions? I like Magikarp. I know he's not useful at all. In fact, he's the exact opposite. He's useless. But I really like Magikarp. Once he evolves into frickin' Gyarados, what more do you want? A better Form 1. Alright, I get it. I like Magikarp. Shut up. Now my official top 10. The first one I want to talk about is Litwick. Litwick is a newer Pokemon, not part of G6, a part of G5, and it's a Ghost type, Ghost Fire to be precise, and I really like Litwick. I like Ghost types to begin with, and Litwick, come on, look at that face. It's adorable. It's a little candle. That's why I chose Litwick over his evolutions. I just think Litwick's too adorable. I mean, come on. I mean, look at this Pokedex entry. I mean, you gotta love this. While shining a light and pretending to be a guide, it leeches off the life force of any who follow it. Wow, that is creepy as hell. Number 9, Galvantula. Why Galvantula? For one, that's an adorable frickin' spider, alright? Although, I guess technically it's not a spider because it doesn't have 8 legs. Whatever. It's adorable. And as someone who raises pet tarantulas in real life, I sort of have a soft spot for a Galvantula. Plus, an electric bug is one of the most useful types I've ever seen, and it was a pretty big part of my party when I played the first Black and White games. Number 8 is Caterpie. Why is Caterpie on here? After all, Caterpie's weak as hell. Almost useless, unless, you're just starting out your Pokemon journey. So why would I put Caterpie on here? Look at him! He is the cutest little caterpillar you will ever lay your eyes on. Alright? No, seriously, he is literally only on here because I find him way too cute to leave him off. Shut up. Blastoise. I'm fairly certain there's some law in some country, somewhere, that makes it so that I have to put my favorite Generation 1 starter on this list. If I don't, I will literally be arrested and go to jail. And that's Blastoise. Blastoise is still a member of my Pokemon party to this day, and is still one of my favorite Pokemon, obviously. It wouldn't be on this list if it wasn't. Giant water turtle. Hydro frickin' cannons of doom. Number 6, Raikou. Raikou. I think it's Raikou. Whatever. Anyway, the first legendary on the official list, why do I like Raikou? Well, there's two reasons. For one, I just feel bad for the guy. Both of the other legendary beasts got featured in their own movie, and poor Raikou's stuck getting cameo appearances in the anime. That sucks. But the other reason is that I'm fairly certain that Raikou is stalking me. I hate to admit this, but in the first Gold and Silver games, I never actually took the time to go find the legendary beasts. Though I did run into one randomly. It was Raikou. And then I ran into one randomly again. It was Raikou. That's kind of weird. So when I played Soul Silver, you know, again, I didn't care to go looking for the legendary beasts. I don't have that kind of time. They're too much of a bitch to catch anyway. But I did run into one randomly. It was Raikou. Again. I think it's following me. Number 5. Giratina. Why Giratina? 1. It was the reason I bought Platinum. 2. What a fucking boss! Look at that thing! That is the most badass legendary you will ever frickin' see. Plus, the poor guy's stuck in his own personal dimension all by himself, and he's just lonely. Even though, according to his Pokédex entry, he was banished for violence. Don't care, he's lonely. Number 4, Articuno. Had to put Articuno on here. Articuno's been my favorite legendary since Generation 1. I've always preferred Articuno over the other legendary birds. And I always liked ice types a lot. But you know, it's a funny story with Articuno. I always viewed Articuno as a female when I was young. I know legendaries are technically genderless, but I always thought of Articuno as a girl. I don't know why. Until recently, when I noticed that that tuft of white fur on its chest looks like a Santa Claus beard. And no, you will never ever be able to unsee that. You're welcome. Number 3, Houndoom. Yes, and now we're getting into Pokemon that you would totally expect me to like. Houndoom is a fucking beast, and I love him. He's a freaking hellhound. Literally, that's exactly what that is. What else would you call that? He's incredibly useful to have in my party, and I couldn't be happier with him. Number 2, Umbreon. Yeah, we're getting into evolutions now. And I guess you can figure out that number 1's also an evolution at this point. But Umbreon's one of my favorite evolutions and one of my favorite Pokemon ever. Because, well, it's a dark type. Oh, you wanted more of a reason than that. Okay, alright, hold on. Oh yeah, Umbreon is a fucking tank. Jesus Christ, the Umbreon in my party is a freaking wall that cannot be stopped. I can't remember the last time the guy went down. And, God, give him leftovers. Yeah, that's the most hilarious thing ever. Just saying. And number 1, my favorite Pokemon of all time, Flareon. Now, I know what you're gonna say, and I'm prepared for it, but show some fucking respect, because I know what I'm gonna hear. A Flareon is useless. You see, in the current Pokemon meta, Flareon is not only the weakest evolution, but also the one with the most useless moveset. You can't use Flareon in a competent party. That's not what— Shut up! I don't care, alright? Flareon is a part of my Pokemon party, and he's staying there. Let me tell you why. Alright, see, the reason Flareon's number 1 actually has nothing to do with the fact that he's adorable, or the fact that I find him a good fire type, or the fact that I don't think he's quite as useless as everybody thinks. No, the reason Flareon is number 1 and my favorite Pokemon ever is that while Umbreon tends to be the Pokemon I get on all those which Pokemon are you lists, Flareon is the Pokemon that I feel a sort of sentimental attachment to. I've told this story before, but it was a part of one of those Q&A videos I do, Darkness Answers, and I'm fairly certain only like 5 of you watch those or something. So, for those of you who've never heard this story, take a seat, alright? Now, this is going back to, I think it was 3rd grade now, and I had just gotten into Pokemon, probably because all the other kids were into it, and by probably I mean definitely. That's the reason I bought it, because I wanted to fit in, and the games were fun. I love Pokemon. And I just got playing it. I hadn't beaten the Elite Four yet, but, you know, I was pretty far into the game, and I was using my Blastoise and having a great time and playing my red version. And then this kid, we're going to call him Dix, because I don't want to use his real name. And that's what you name your rival in the Pokemon games, right? You don't give them an actual name, no. You name them something like Asshole or Bitch. Or, if you're me, you name him Dix, because that's what this guy was, a dick. So his name is Dix. See what I did there? I'm so creative and bitter as fuck. Anyway, but Dix comes up to me and he says, "Hey, I'm gonna trade you my Gengar for your Blastoise." And at first I said, no, that's my Blastoise. Because, you know, you need your starter, right? Yeah, I didn't know that yet. But, you know, at the time, I'm like, yeah, I need my Blastoise. You know, and he pushed me for like 3 frickin' days. I forget how long it took. You know, probably not long enough. How long it should have taken was infinity. But eventually I decided, you know what? I don't even know what a Gengar is, because at the time I was really new and I legit did not know what a Gengar was. But he said it was a really good Pokemon, and you know, I should totally believe him, because this guy is legit. Seriously. You don't know how legit this guy is. He is super legit. So we trade. I give him my Blastoise, and you know, had it actually been a Gengar, this would have been an okay trade, because Gengar's a really powerful Pokemon. He was probably the best Ghost type in G1, and by probably I mean he was the best Ghost type in G1. What the hell am I talking about? But it wasn't a Gengar. It was level 2 Pidgey, nicknamed Gengar. I'm waiting for you to stop laughing before I press on, because I know some of you are probably thinking this is hilarious, but this is very traumatizing for me. Shut up. Alright, motherfucker Dix over here straight up stole my Blastoise, because that's what he did. That's what that was, alright? And of course, once I realized what had happened, I was like, hey, you should give me my Blastoise back. And of course, the answer I got was no. Ha ha. So that was good. See, I'd been bullied for a while, and I continued to be bullied after this incident, but this particular time was one of those rare occasions where I wanted revenge, because this was bullshit. Alright? Now, Dix is kind of an idiot. And I mean that. In that, at the time, because, you know, we were all young and everyone thought you needed your starter, he kept bragging about his fucking Charizard. I don't even know why. Because, you know, Charizard's such a great achievement. Pick the starter Charmander and play the game. Ooh, impressive. Whatever, but at the time he was really impressed with this Charizard. Yeah, because Charizard's the best Charizard fucking ever. And, you know, I decided, you know, I gotta beat that Charizard, but how? Now, your first thought is, well, did you restart the game and beat him with your Blastoise? No. Because that would have given him the satisfaction of forcing me to restart my fucking game. That's what he wanted to do to me. I wasn't going to let him win. No, because I had another Pokemon. I had a few others, but there was one who was my second most powerful at the time. It was Flareon. It wasn't even a conscious choice with Flareon. When I got an Eevee, I just happened to buy a Firestone, because I felt like I needed a Fire type, and I evolved it into Flareon. Hey, that's cool! I have a Flareon! Little did I know that this little Flareon would come up to bat for me. So I trained the shit out of that Flareon. And then the day came when I challenged Dix to a Pokemon battle. And my Flareon beat the shit out of his Charizard. I didn't win the battle, because, inconveniently enough, he had 4 Blastoises right behind the Charizard, because that was necessary. But it was the principle of the thing. had stood up for myself, and it was all thanks to Flareon. I mean, I guess you could argue that I could have used any Pokemon in that particular situation, and hell, there probably were better picks than Flareon. I mean, I could have taken a fucking Gyarados and raped the shit out of his Charizard because he's a water type, but no, I chose Flareon, and I did it. And ever since then, I guess, you know, I just have this connection with Flareon. I know Pokemon aren't real and all that, and it sounds really lame coming from a 23-year-old, well, soon-to-be 23-year-old, but I guess ever since then I felt like I owed Flareon. And nowadays, it seems like Flareon's the one getting bullied, you know? Everyone constantly picks on him and acts like, oh, he's useless, you can't use him in a fight. You know, I don't use Flareon because he's super-de-duper useful. He's in my party because I like him. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So yeah, top 10 list of favorite Pokemon. Hope that didn't get too sentimental at the end for you. Till next time, this is Darkness, and I bid you all a fond farewell.